So, I had an idea today at work, um, and I kind of want to just get it out there and maybe get an opinion on it. I know one person will have an opinion for me, and I'm not going to make the decision based on the opinion, but I'm curious of what outside of my own thought process, because a lot of times I get stuck on the thought of like, oh, this is something new, whatever. I'm going to run with it and just kind of go whatever, but like I'm curious to see what anybody else thinks. So no spoilers, obviously, not obviously, no spoilers, so anybody can watch this and comment on it. um, but so I'm working on, I can't get comfortable, I'm working on the 2.5 right now, as I've talked about. Between book 2 and book 3, this is like, it's like a wrapping up some characters' stuff for the most part after the events of book 2. It's going a little bit more into depth of that. That's what I'm doing now, and I'm treating it like a regular story. However, there is, I've talked about it a few times, like a prelude story, which would be a super conceptual, abstract thing where you're honestly not getting a lot of dialogue from the person whose lens you're viewing the story through and who we're just going through beat by beat with. You'd be mostly experiencing them witnessing dialogue that we've seen before as they're visiting past moments, um, in a way. But I think that might be a little bit, I don't know, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, it might feel like it's dragging on, I guess, because it's just like a character describing things that are happening in the way that I did, like Devil to the Damned and whatever have you, um, which is fine, and it's a lot of fun to stretch those writing muscles. But I feel like with most of the book being like 70% of the book being like that, I feel like it might get a little bit grating, even though the book wouldn't be long. And I know I said that about this one. I'm already over 100 pages, but that one definitely wouldn't be long because it's a prelude leading into the next book. It's basically like an intro that I planned on writing for book 3, cut out and made into its own thing, and then having a new intro where they kind of merge. But I wanted to do something a little bit different with this. I was listening to, on my way home from therapy today, I was listening to the Alan Wake 2, um, some of the soundtrack from that, like The Poet and the Muse. I fucking love that song. I love Alan Wake so much. And the song The Poet and the Muse, and then you had, it was a Herald of Darkness. I was listening to those, and it's like those two songs are telling a story in the songs, and it's giving a lot of context, to a lot of the backstory of the Alan Wake universe with Barbara Jagger and Thomas Zane, and it's giving a lot of that story that you don't get in the games. Well, you do, but like you get it kind of in pieces and like hinted at, and you don't get like a very direct expository, this is what happened kind of thing. And you're getting a lot of that story through the music, through the songs and the lyrics. So, what if I made that prelude book a bunch of poems? Like the poems that are telling, like it's still chapter by chapter, but each chapter is written with a rhyming scheme. And what if I did something like that? And they wouldn't, like, each chapter could be like, I think, I mean, it could be 10 pages because if it's in a poetry format, the pages would go a lot faster, and I could cover a lot more of what's going on, um, in a more concise and easily digestible way. Because if it would be like the original plan, it would be like another 80 to 100 pages, and it's just a lot to add for just a prelude story. And it could be interesting delving into the details of that, which I want to do, but I can go into those details and make it a poetic thing at the same time. Um, and I'm not entirely sold on the idea yet, but I do think it's interesting. And I even thought about, well, what if I'll make it even more weird. What if at the end of the poem, at the end of the poetry book, like the last chapter, is a commissioned comic panels, where we see the result of everything that's been going on, and we actually get to see the characters. Because I was thinking, what if the poems aren't really naming characters? Like, you don't say, oh, let's just, for example, let's just say something something Kim or something something Alice or whatever. Instead of saying that, making it really direct, I'd have him like the poem would take a chunk to describe the character in a way that is recognizable as them. So that way I'm not rhyming Kim or something like that with, or I'm not, whatever. I'm not rhyming a character's name in the scheme, and instead I'm using their details to uh, hint at who the character is, whatever have you. It would be such an indirect way of storytelling that if you know the characters, which you should by this point, then you are understanding what's going on through the context you have already gathered from the other books, the other stories. Um, yeah, I, don't know, I was just thinking, like, I thought about what if I did the whole thing as comic panels, but that would be too long, too expensive, and um, it just wouldn't work. But I think the last chapter could be really cool if it suddenly transitioned to comic panels. But then again, I don't know how that would work for formatting. But it would be cool. Let me know what you guys think about that idea, the poetry book kind of thing. Also inspired because I'm trying to release a poetry book right now. I'm just waiting on my friend to finalize their thoughts on stuff, and I can get that out as soon as I can. But just kind of waiting. Um, the worst part, and no shame or hate on her, love her to death, but it's the worst part about collaboration is it's not on just my schedule; it's on other people's schedule. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. There's some dirt on my bed. Get off! I have to sleep here. Anyway, fucking thumbs up, dude. Get out of here.